Hello, hello. Okay, let's see if anybody is online. Try to do some comments. We'll tag everyone. Just gonna give a couple minutes to see if people join. Okay, I don't see anybody, but I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So today is the Spirit Animal Chicken Live, and thank you all for working with me to reschedule this a couple of times. It's been a really long month, and but a little bit sick as well, and definitely wanted to do this like during the day outside, so that I could do it with my chickens present. So they are playing in the yard right now, but I'm actually gonna grab two of them. One of them is broody. I have a total of 3, and just you can see them really quick, and then they'll come back later in the live. So give me 1 second. Okay, they're definitely wanting to play, so but this is Rose. She's not wanting to be in here too much, but this one is Rose. They just got out, so they're like, hey, excuse me, I want to play. Oh, hi, Angie. Great, I'm glad that it's working. But this is Rose, and all of my chickens are named after different flowers. And Iris is broody, so she is in her coop right now. And then this is Belladonna. Let me see if she'll let me grab her. Oh my goodness. There you go, brat. Okay. And then this is Bella, or Belladonna. And she's an Easter egger. The other one is a Rhode Island Red. And then I have a Wyandotte that's in the coop back behind me. And she is just very broody right now, so I won't take her out because she's being kind of mean. But these two, she's sweet when she's not broody, but these two are super, super sweet. And then I also had another chicken named Lavender, and she passed last year, but actually have some pieces of her, which I will share in a little bit. All right. So I have some quick notes, and I guess maybe Bella's gonna hang out just about like what chickens are kind of like as a spirit animal. So I got chickens during the pandemic. I started my pandemic garden and got chickens. I had chickens as a child as well, and always really wanted to be able to do gardening. So it kind of was like the right time. We're all cooped up at home, and started like a little tiny homestead here where I live, and got my chickens. So these are the same chickens that I've had since then. And at the time, looking back on my practice, was when I was trying to connect more with the air elements, and working with chickens actually really helped me do that. They, you know, of course they're a bird, so the feather aspect and the sounds that they make, they really helped me along my spiritual journey to really tap into the air element and kind of master working with that, because I felt like I had a natural ability with the other 3 elements, but air, I just felt like I had a block. And so actually working with them really, really helped me open that. So that was a really cool way to work with them. And I didn't get them for my craft, but I found a lot of ways that I could work with them, which was pretty fun. So some ways that you can work with chickens is, of course, using their feathers. So I save a lot of their tail feathers and wing feathers. You know, if they look really nice, I take them inside, and I can, yeah, they do make like a purr sound for sure. And that's cool that you had chickens too, Angie. So you can save their feathers and make like a You can bundle them together and use them for like a smoke wand for smudging, or however you like to call it. And that's a really fun way to work with their feathers. I also sometimes will use their feathers kind of as like a quill tip pen, and I don't have like, you know, feathers that I write a lot with, but if I'm just trying to like draw out a rune or just kind of draw a sigil or something, or even just put some like ink onto a paper that I'm using in my craft, it's a pretty cool way to do that. And you can also carve into a candle with the feather too. It's not as easy as like a sharp object, but it does work. And so if I'm trying to like invoke more of the air side, then I will use the feather for that too. Of course, using the feather for like a, you know, just on your altar is another great way. Charm bags, spell jars, really anything that you would want to incorporate the air element in, that's another way that you can use them. I like to carry smaller feathers with me, so I put them in my bag, I put them in my wallet, sometimes even just in my pocket, and that's a nice way to connect, you know, to that element as well. The pens that I have are all basically named after different herbs and flowers, so their correspondences kind of like align just based on how I named them. And again, that wasn't really something I decided to do for my craft. I just kind of decided, oh, it'd be fun to give them all like flower and herb names and something that I can carry on through like multiple generations of chickens. And just kind of naturally ended up being able to work with them based off of like the correspondences that they have. And then of course, you know, if you do egg cleansing, you can work with the eggs in that way too. That's not part of my practice, but I think it's a really cool thing to do. And sometimes I've actually gifted my eggs to other practitioners who use them, because my chickens are very spoiled. So I feel like they do a really good job in like the magical craft, because they don't carry like the energy that maybe some like a store-bought chicken would have, where they've been going through factory farming. Mine are pretty spoiled. They actually reject a lot of my treats because they like to save room for the ones they like the most. Okay, so I'm gonna read a little bit out of two different books, just kind of about, you know, what spirit animals are about the chickens in general. So the first one is called Animal Speak, and the author is Ted Andrews. This is a pretty popular book. I know a lot of people, at least people I know, use it. It's pretty common. And it talks a lot about different birds, and the chicken is in here. So I'll just read a little bit about them in here. So some key notes about the chicken are that they are connected to fertility and sacrifice. They are often used you know, in different sacrifices. We eat them regularly. They are kind of an easier animal if you're doing some type of sacrifice or something. So I do not do that. My chickens are pets, and but I do eat meat and things. So if you were going to want to offer that some way, you know, that's probably a pretty attainable animal to do something like that. And then of course with the eggs and easy reproduction and things, fertility is kind of an obvious choice as well. So the cycle of power for them is year-round. They, you know, thrive kind of throughout the whole year. And then also daybreak. So if you think of roosters, of course, and like they want to wake up early with the sun, that is the time of day that corresponds. So the chicken is one of the first birds ever to be domesticated, and given through it as a domesticated bird, it still has a great deal of symbolism and significance to it. The word chicken comes from the Anglo-Saxon word seeken, referring to a young domestic fowl. It's a descendant of pheasants and galliforms, which are fowl-shaped birds, and it examines the significance of wild pheasants may provide, or if you examine the significance of wild pheasants, it may provide even further insight. So because of their egg-laying ability, chickens are always associated with fertility. The feathers of chickens were used to stuff bedding, the primary place of sexual activity. So I think that's really interesting, because actually I do have a feather bed. I think it might be goose down, but traditionally I think, you know, most people would have had chickens. So it is interesting. You think of like pillows and bedding and things that, you know, oftentimes it is stuffed with feather. They've also been used throughout history as a common animal used in sacrificial rites, and this explains only partially half of its keynote. Sacrifice has ties to the ancient mystery of sexuality. In the fertilization process, the male seed is sacrificed to impregnate the female egg. And because ejaculation occurs outside the body, it has correspondences to act of sacrifice. So even in Shakespearean times, this was common knowledge. And the word die in many of Shakespeare's plays had a slangy punish double meaning that corresponds to either like orgasm or ejaculation. And this was known to the common folk audiences of that time. So I actually thought that was super interesting. I didn't know that, and I have done like some study with Shakespeare, so that was kind of like new to me. I don't know if my teachers and professors like just never wanted to touch that subject, but that was pretty interesting. And because of that, you know, they could be used in like sex magic and things too. So another really, you know, great use for feathers, eggshells, such like that. So there's also lots of forms of divination that surround the use of eggs and chickens. And we're actually going to try that a little bit later today. I'm super excited. And it was considered unlucky if a hen laid an even number of eggs. And if eggs were laid on a Good Friday, they were an assurance of fertility in all areas of your life. So deities were invoked through the simple act of throwing grains to chickens. So they would just throw the grain and you could call it to the deity. I have done that a little bit with work with Persephone, and then also with Iris, because I have a chicken named Iris. So that is kind of like a nice way to honor her. Okay. So deities were invoked through, I just said that. And then if the chickens were listless in their eating, then it indicated that the gods must be angry. So I think I've also heard that on boats and things like that, sorry, I'm getting over illness. Okay. So that if they were not eating well, like on the boat, I think they would like throw them overboard and just kind of, you know, like toss them out. So, all right. So that's a little bit of information from this book, Animals Speak. And I did a little bit more research as well. So just found a really nice summary of chickens as a totem. So those who have chickens as their totem animal are often nurturing, protective, and resourceful. They have a strong sense of family and community and are willing to go great lengths to care for and provide for others. People with the chicken as their totem animal are often seen as reliable and trustworthy. So I really like that description. You know, of course, with really any like spirit animal or totem, there's so many different interpretations out there. But I thought that this one was like a really good description that resonated with me. Hi, Carol. And thanks, Angie. No problem. See you on the replay. Okay, so if you get chickens in your dreams, they have a little bit of a different meaning. So in general, a chicken dream is a message that you may have to reevaluate your response to something in your waking life. So are you responding from your heart or out of fear? Are you backing down when you should be standing up for yourself? So that is one aspect. And then an alternate dream interpretation is that the bird may be representative of chatter and gossip. Thus, you should make sure that you are listening well enough to others and hearing what they have to say. Conversely, you may be participating in an unhealthy hearsay. So therefore, be sure to take the time to work through things and see where it takes you. Usually, you can grow from it. So those are two different ways that they can show up in your dreams. I have actually had some pretty prolific dreams with my chicken spirit, like connection to them. They have like early in the morning when they want out, like I have had them show up in my dreams, and then they've been like out of water or something, like their water was having issues for a while. And so it was like they were communicating with me inside the house, or maybe they were like screaming loud enough that I could hear them or something. But several different times I feel like they have communicated with me to be like, hey, I need something. And sure enough, they did actually need something. So it's pretty cool that they, I feel like, have done that. The chicken that I have that passed, her name was Lavender, and I don't know what happened to her. Mine are all about 5 years old now. I guess, yeah, 4 years old. And she seemed fine, and then she just wasn't alive when I came in the morning to see her. And thankfully none of the others have been sick or anything, so I don't know, chicken heart attack or whatever they get. But I actually saved part of her, which I wanted to share with you, and I just took it out today, so really special. But I saved her wings. So these are Lavender's rings, and I will use them in my craft, and you can use them kind of for anything like fanning. The wings are really a nice way to you know, work with the air element. And I also saved her feet here as well, and I did pose them kind of like in a specific way, which was pretty cool that they did stay when I saved them. And these are ones that I got at an oddity show, and I've been working with these ones in my craft for a while. They're black ones, and they have like the green in them, so likely from a rooster, and these are like a small breed chicken. But I use these a lot in my craft, and so as I'm working with incense, I'll fan the incense. I can kind of like create different scrying and things like that as I work with the wings. So these ones have been really great to work with, but I think, you know, working with ones that I have like an actual connection to the animal will be much more powerful, so I'm very excited to start working with those. All right. Okay, so I have one more book that I'm going to read a little bit out of. Okay, and this one is the Encyclopedia of Witchcraft. I think this is such a great book. It's one of my favorite books. Like, if I want to like look up just kind of the basics of any topic, it pretty much always is in this book, and it's amazing. Like, it links it really back to like working with pretty much anything in your craft. It's, you know, short overview, and will be able to spark like kind of if you want to do a deeper dive on it or learn more. So I always recommend this book. It's like one of my favorite ones to recommend. Oh, and actually, just pretty cool, as I was working with the wings from Lavender, it looks like Belladonna left me a new feather too. So this is definitely one that I will save and use in my craft. And I know for a lot of my pen pals have gotten feathers as well, so I love sharing them. And here's one from Bella. That was pretty cool timing. Okay, so because chickens were once perceived as being twice born, once when the egg is laid and once when it hatches, they were regarded as sacred. So I think that is so cool, and I love how this book really talks about that kind of like twice born aspect, and just the whole idea of you know, the like reincarnation or just rebirth in general. And there's of course the saying, what came first, the chicken or the egg? And there's a lot of like spirituality that you can link back to the chicken, just by the nature of the egg being essentially born and then the chicken being born from the egg. And so in that regard, oftentimes they're regarded as sacred. And black is the color of night, fertility, and gestation. And so black hens were considered the most sacred of all. That's definitely the next color hen that I want to get, is a black one. And yeah, the wings that I got were black, but I think they all are magical, and you can work with, you know, the correspondence of that chicken color as well. So many magic spells stipulate that feathers or eggs must come from a pure black hen. The very first egg laid by a black hen is considered extremely magically powerful and is coveted for love and fertility spells. Black hens are identified with and sacred to the supreme witch goddess Hecate, and this spiritual memory services in the Mother Goose rhyme, Peckety, peckety, my black hen. I had no idea about that until I read this in this book, and I haven't actually seen it really anywhere else, but it seems very right to me. Like, it is spelled like Hecate, like Hecate, and I think that is so cool. And in some parts of Britain, witches were allegedly incapable of approaching black chicken feathers, and so on Halloween it was customary to kill a black hen. The hen was cooked, but the feathers were artfully arranged. They were hung onto the door of the house, over the bed, or onto children or horses. It sounds suspiciously like a serendipitous method of offering a sacrifice to Hecate. In African-derived magic, black hen feathers are used for magical cleansings. And I definitely use those for cleansing specifically. I didn't purchase them because of knowing about it with the African tradition, but I think it's very cool to see that, like, I just gravitated to those for whatever reason, because I did mostly get them for cleansing purposes. You can also burn the feathers to a very, very fine ash and then dust them on the person to be cleansed. That's something I've not done, but I think that would be really cool and want to try. And I don't know if I mentioned this with the eggs, but you of course can save the eggshells as well, and there's a million ways to use eggshells. Black hens also counter malevolent spells and allegedly remove jinxes. In the United States, the frizzy black and white speckled hens are the substitute of choice and may even be preferable. So Iris, the one that is in the coop, she is like a gray speckled kind of one. So she's similar to, like, she's the same breed as the black and white one, just slightly different color. Let's see, where'd it go? So with hoodoo and conjure traditions of the southern United States, the frizzly hens or roosters were kept in the yard to scratch up any tricks or malevolent spells left on the property to fester and cause harm. Now, I absolutely think that their movement is really very cleansing with energy. And so I have, like, I work with fairies a little bit in my garden, and in my garden space, I kind of have it set up where like the fairies or whatever can do whatever they want in the space, and then you know, they don't come to my house, like I don't mess with them, they don't mess with me, but they're welcome to like tend to the plants and thrive off of them however they wish. And I feel like my chickens like really changed up the energy when I brought them in. I feel like the fae were actually like a lot more present before the chickens came in, because I think they like come out and just move things. They are messy. They love to like move things, break things. They pick all my fruits. Like, this is basically their garden, and the vibes have changed. And so I feel like I have a different set of like beings that are here now that I have the chickens. Yeah, just kind of how it is. Oh no, it glitched. That is so strange. I'm not sure why that's happening. It shows I have full signal. I don't know. Hopefully it doesn't do that too much. I don't think there's really anything I can do. Yeah, it looks like it's all connected. All right, and let's see, we've got chickens can also serve as oracles since the ancient days. So there's various methods that exist for this, and one that is called Alectryomancy is the standard method of divination by poultry. So this is new to me, Alectryomancy, and we are actually going to try it today. And we're going to do a little bit slightly different version, but the way that it is in the book is that individual letters of the alphabet are used to form a circle. So you basically would create like a circular talking board with each of the letters, and they would put an equal amount of wheat onto each letter, and then the bird is placed in the center of the circle and is carefully observed as it eats the grain. So they would see which corresponding letters would spell out the prophecy. So it kind of works like a Ouija board, and it actually says that it was a primitive ancestor of the modern Ouija board. Hi Ronette, welcome. So I thought that was amazing that you can, basically the chickens are like the early Ouija board. So we are actually going to try that today. I didn't bring a Ouija board. I felt like it would be maybe a little chaotic to have all the letters, but what we're gonna do is use like the yes, no. So I have one of these pendulum boards and it has yes and no. So I am gonna get the camera ready. It'll take me like a minute while we're online here, and put some grubs. I have these little fly larvae that they are very obsessed with, and I will put some on each yes and no, and we are going to do some chicken divination. So if you want to start thinking of yes no questions, then I will ask those specific, and then I'll do some just kind of like general ones for the replay, where you can think of one in your head, and then we'll see what the answer is. So I've never done this. This is the first time, so bear with me and my chickens while we figure it out. Okay, so give me a second. I'm gonna turn this camera situation around. Hopefully this will work. Okay, sorry for the super awkward angle. Okay, I think this is gonna work. Can you see that? I wanna zoom in. It's like some people get their lives like so zoomed in, right? And then did that zoom? If someone can drop in the chat, did it zoom in and can you see it pretty well? It's gonna be different when the chicken comes in, but. And I might have to put one of them away. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, I'm just gonna try this. They're probably both gonna run over, but I might have to put one away, but we'll see. Okay, come on. Cool. Okay, Carol's saying try again. Can you explain? Okay, so it's working good. Okay, great. All right, come on, girl. So think about a yes, no question. If it did in and out. Okay, so it zoomed in and out. Okay, so think about a yes or no question, and we'll try this out. If you want to put it in the chat, we can ask. So I'll just see, is this fun for you, Rose? Yes or no? Okay. No, she says this is not fun. I do not like you parading me around. Okay, awesome. Do you want to participate with this? Come on. Come here. She's not a fan. But we're gonna make her do it anyway. Just gotta work off her food. All right. Okay. So think about a yes no question. If you want to drop it in the chat, that would be fun. We can read it out loud and then put them in there. Here, you want just a few? There you go, girl. Oh, Bella wants to come help. I feel like Bella is going to be having fun with this. You have mud all over your face, girl. Come on. Will your manifestations come true? Okay, let's see. I feel like I've got to push them away to do this. I'll put a little pile on each one and then see what happens. You guys. All right. Yes. You definitely went straight for yes. For if your manifestations will come true. I'm going to try to see if I can take the whole board, and it might work a little better. Will you have your dream home? Yes. You will have your dream home. You got some good ones coming in. Okay. And Ronette asked, yeah, it was definitely hard yeses on there. Will work get slow? And I'm trying my best to put them like as evenly as possible. Okay, will work get slow? You guys have to move. Come on. Because you're in the way and you're going to mess up your thing. No, work will not get slow. Let's do some for the replay. So think about your question, and for those on the replay, if you want a yes or a no. Hi, Patience. And we will see how the chickens respond. Oops, that one kind of fell off, so I think it was a no. I was trying to get them to be even. Thank you. Yeah, we are doing some chicken, I forget the word that it had. Let me look it up. Electromancy. It is chicken divination based on where they peck. Okay. So I'm going to change the board a little bit because I feel like they're kind of in the same spot. So we'll have this side where you can see my foot. This one is going to be yes, and then we'll just have the other side be no. Thank you. She's like, give me more. Okay, so we'll have yes on the left and then no on the right. So don't worry so much about where the things are. So it's a little bit more even. Okay. It was a no. I'm glad you're all having fun. This is pretty fun. Will you thrive as a mediator? Ooh, great question. Let's see. Kind of wish I had like even another plate where it's just more obvious, but this is the first time, so I will try again having it be like a left or right kind of thing. Excuse me. Just like how rude. Okay. So we'll do left. The left side is yes, and then the right side is no. No. I know, that's not a great one. That one was not a thrive, but they did go quickly to yes, but it was a no and then a yes. It is fun. This is definitely the first time I have done any type of divination like this. I think they're having fun as well. And if anyone has any questions, not just for like the yes no questions, but any questions just about chickens in general, let me know. Yeah, shaky start. I could see that. I think that's a really good interpretation. I do have another plate, so I'll do another yes no. This one's again for anyone watching the replay. So if you have a new question, the left side will be yes with the sun, and then the right side with the moon will be no. And that one is a yes. All right, so let me come back on camera here. That's pretty much what I've got, but if anyone has any questions, let me know. Yeah, the alphabet, I can't imagine that. I was thinking about pulling my Ouija board out, and I have another, like a bigger pendulum board that has all the letters like in a circle, and I was like, that's just gonna be pure chaos. But I guess if you had it really big, like I would imagine it'd need to be like the size of my yard or something where they could like run over. That was kind of how I figured, but anything on a small, I just don't see how that was gonna work. Oh, thank you for smacking me in the face. This one's Bella. They like to scratch around. They're like not wanting to sit still right now. Bella's kind of like, they're both very friendly, but they don't particularly like to sit in my lap too much. Sometimes, but they're kind of more into like, hey, come hang out with me while I run around. But Bella looks a little bit like a hawk, so I really love working with her feathers and just kind of her energy, because she's very like, her look just is very hawk-like. So I do work a little bit with the hawk spirit element with her, just by her nature. No, Patience, I have never done this before. I just saw that in a book and decided it would be fun to give it a try on a live. So it was my first time ever working with chicken Alectryomancy, I think it was, or just any type of chicken divination. So although I do use their feathers and wings a lot for smoke scrying, but that is a little different. So it's pretty fun. All right. Well, if there aren't any questions, I will go ahead and end the live. And thank you so much for hanging out and playing this divination with me. I hope you had fun. See if my girls get better at it. I think Rose was not a fan, but I think Bella was all about it. So. All right. Well, I hope you all have a great evening or morning or whenever the time is on the replay. Bye.